Hey everybody, thanks for checking out this video. I'm your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is my series Horror Movie Superlatives that I am collaborating with good friend Carlin Cook. We're up to 1986 today, and we're going to make our selections. So after you watch this video, please go to his channel, link will be in the description. Watch his video with the same title, and then after you watch both videos, then please go to the community tab on his page and vote on who you thought had the better picks. Just make sure you watch both videos first. I really appreciate it. I would also really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. I would love to go on this journey with you and grow this channel. I have my series with Carlin, Horror Movie Superlatives, that come out every Wednesday, and my series Nails in a Coffin, which comes out every Friday, and I recently started the Friday the 13th franchise, which I'm having a lot of fun covering. But enough of that. Let's get started and pick some horror movie superlatives for 1986. Quick summary of our rules. We can only use a movie once. We don't know what movies the other person is picking, and that really makes it fun that we have to wait for each other's videos to come out to see how we compare. Also, we actually had to have seen the movies that we are selecting, so it does make it interesting, only selecting movies that we actually have watched. And we would really appreciate it if you let us know what your selections are down in the comments below. I love reading what you guys would pick for these categories. It's a lot of fun. So, let's get started. My selection for the most amazing horror movie to come out in 1986 is, of course, David Cronenberg's The Fly, which is one of the greatest horror movies ever made. Definitely one of the best remakes ever made. The acting, the directing, the sets, the cinematography is all just so excellent. The score by Howard Shore it's a magnificently dark and operatic piece of orchestral horror music, and it pulls you in to this world that was created by David Cronenberg. And oh my god, the effects in this movie pretty much can leave you speechless. They're gross in the best way possible, and they make this movie actually scary. The performances by Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis are incredible. Watching Seth change from human into...
I'm becoming Brundlefly.
And not only do you see his body transform, you also see his psyche change as well. He's welcoming this change. And then you see the despair in Veronica, especially at the end after she kills Brundlefly. This is one of the greatest horror movies ever, and I think it's tied with The Thing for one of the best remakes ever made, and this was one of the easiest selections I have for the most amazing horror movie to come out in 1986. For the So Bad It's Good category, I selected Wes Craven's Deadly Friend. This is a lesser-known horror movie from, legend of the genre, Wes Craven. And if you haven't seen it, it's about a teenage boy, Paul, and his mom who move into their new home, and his next-door neighbor, Samantha, played by Christy Swanson, well before her breakout role as Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She has an asshole, alcoholic, abusive father, and Paul is a prodigy who built this robot called BB. Samantha is killed by her father when he drunkenly punches her and pushes her down the stairs. Paul is devastated since he was developing feelings for Sam. So Paul takes the microchip that he had installed into BB, which can interface with the human brain. He sneaks into the hospital and puts the microchip into Samantha's brain, and then he even uses a remote control to try and wake her up. Well, Sam eventually does wake up, and her mannerisms are very mechanical, suggesting that BB is in control of her body. And she starts to exact revenge on people who hurt her and Paul. This movie is really nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense, but it's silly, and it really has some great death scenes. It's not a good movie, but it's also not a bad movie. The ending is going to make zero sense, and once you watch this movie, you'll see why I picked it as the best So Bad It's Good movie of 1986. And my selection for the most WTF movie goes to Class of Nukem High. Lloyd Kaufman and Troma's staple, along with Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD, and of course, the Toxic Avenger. which had a spot in my 1984 video. The theme song to this movie is great. Tromaville's honor students are transformed into freaks when toxic waste leaks into their school, and they're actually called cretins. Oh, I'm sorry, cretins. A girl pukes a slug into a toilet, which turns into this giant monster at the end. If you've seen this movie, there's a lot of WTF in this movie because it's a Troma movie. Troma makes great WTF movies with the gore, the acting, the silliness, the comedy. It's great. So that's why I selected Class of Nukem High as the most WTF movie of 1986. For Best Gore, I went with From Beyond. Another movie based on the works of H.P. Lovecraft, and this movie was also directed by Stuart Gordon, who directed Reanimator in 1985, which I also had for Best Gore. Special effects by John Carl Buechler, also known for all the horror films as Terrorvision, Dolls, Troll, Trancers, and Ghoulies. And he also directed Friday the 13th Part 7, which had Kane Hodder as the first role as Jason. But From Beyond has got incredible effects. They're perfect. You have the monstrosity that Dr. Pretorius turns into, as well as that thing that pops out of Jeffrey Combs' head. The effects are slimy and gross. They make you feel uncomfortable, and they're just awesome. If you haven't seen this movie, go check it out. It's based on an H.P. Lovecraft, directed by Stuart Gordon. It's starring the wonderful Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton, who just recently worked together in Reanimator. Stuart Gordon knows horror. He knows body horror, and From Beyond has some of the best gore effects to come out in 1986. Now on to the most unique horror movie, and this is a disturbing movie, and I really enjoy it. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. It's a dark and disturbing movie starring Michael Rooker as Henry. Henry arrives in Chicago, and he moves in with an old acquaintance from prison, Otis, and he starts to teach Otis in the ways of serial killing. Michael Rooker is so unsettling in this movie. His performance is terrifying. There's not a lot of gore in this movie, but the atmosphere it creates is so scary. The movie is loosely based on the life and crimes of serial killer Henry Lee Lucas, and the movie kind of gives you an inside look into the mind of a serial killer. And for that, I really do find it unique because it's a scary movie without a lot of gore into it. It's scary because it shows you like the evil human condition, and Michael Rooker's performance is it's legendary in this movie. It's done so well. So if you've seen this movie, I hope you agree with me that Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer is one of the most unique horror movies to come out in 1986. On to most overrated. I don't know how some people are going to feel about this one, but I went with Chopping Mall. First off, the poster for this movie is very misleading. There is a mall, however, there's really no chopping in it. They wanted to make a pun on shopping mall, haha, but it really doesn't fit. The movie does have Scream Queen Barbara Crampton, second appearance in this video, as well as a cameo from the wonderful Dick Miller. But other than that, this is just an okay movie. A bunch of young adults are staying overnight in a mall to have a party. But the new robotic mall security guards turn evil after the building is struck by lightning. And the security robots start killing everybody one by one. And just for mall security robots, these things have some serious weaponry installed, like plastic explosives and laser blasts. They also have a store in the mall that sells a bunch of assault weapons and ammunition, which is kind of weird. You know, you hear people talking about this movie, but I just think Chopping Mall is okay. It's nothing I'm really ever going to want to go back to the watch again and again. Barbara Crampton is great in it, but she kind of has a small role, and she has much more prominent roles in her filmography. It's an okay movie, and that's why I selected it as the most overrated horror movie for 1986. And finally, my selection for most underrated. But before I give it to you, one thing that I really like about this series that I'm collaborating with Carlin is, for a couple weeks, movies that I've selected as most underrated, he'll select as most overrated. So it's kind of interesting how people feel about different types of movies, and it's fun and interesting that we can all have different opinions and still get along so great. And that's one thing I really enjoy about doing this series. But I doubt Carl's going to pick this for most overrated because this is a gem of a movie, Night of the Creeps. Directed by Fred Decker, who also directed Monster Squad. This movie is a gem. It's about slugs that arrive from space and turn people into mindless zombies. It's got the wonderful Tom Atkins in it as Detective Ray Cameron, who even has a pretty cool catchphrase.
Thrill me.
And there's even a cameo by Dick Miller, second appearance in this video. This movie's a lot of fun. It requires multiple viewings. It still holds up, and I can watch it again and again and always enjoy it. It also has one of my favorite movie quotes in the history of horror that I just smile every time I hear it.
I got good news and bad news, girls. The good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
Great movie. I love it. More people should talk about it. This is one of those movies I never want them to remake or even have a sequel to because it's just so good. And more people should talk about it. It's a great, great movie. And Night of the Creeps is my selection for the most underrated horror movie for 1986. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a quick summary of my picks. Most amazing, of course, David Cronenberg's The Fly. So bad it's good. A lesser known movie from Wes Craven, but it's a fun movie, Deadly Friend. WTF Movie, Class of Nukem High. Best score, From Beyond. Most unique, The Terrifying Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Most overrated, The Okay Chopping Mall. And most underrated, the wonderful Night of the Creeps. Thanks again for watching this video. Now, please go to Carlos' channel. Again, link in the description. Watch his video with the same name. Then go to the community tab on his channel and vote on who you thought you had the better picks. Also, let me know in the comments down below what your picks are. Just quick reminder, please watch both videos before you vote. It's a friendly competition. There is no real loser in this. We're both having a lot of fun. That's the biggest enjoyment we're getting out of this. So do me a favor also, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video. And also check out my Nails in the Coffin series. I'm at Camp Crystal Lake for covering Friday the 13th, and I'm going to be there for the bulk of the summer right now because there's a lot of movies to cover, and I want you guys to take that journey along with me. And feel free to share this video out so we can help grow this channel. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all of you watching. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.